and half smiles. Her pale green eyes dart over my shoulder as she blows a steady stream of smoke my way. I don't have to turn around to know that Geraldine's new sidekick, the soon-to-be first assistant, is about to join us. J. Stanley Edgerton III always clears his throat before he speaks. It's an annoying practice designed to alert all of us that his words are coming, lest we miss one of them. Reality, Attorney Nickerson? He drones at my back. Perhaps we should discuss reality. Geraldine hired Stanley a month ago. Stole him, actually, from the New Bedford office to replace me. A meticulous, prissy sort of man, he leaves behind an enviable track record. Stanley tried a dozen homicide cases during his 8-year career in New Bedford. He won them all. He doesn't intend to lose this one. You do have some grasp on reality, don't you, Attorney Nickerson? Geraldine's office is spacious, but Stanley positions himself so that the tips of his tasseled shoes almost touch my boots. He does it on purpose. He's always too close, always making me feel there isn't enough oxygen in the room for both of us. I move away from him and head for the door. If that's the best you can do, Geraldine, we're going to trial. Stanley inserts himself in my path. And your client's defense, Attorney Nickerson? What might that be? My silent glare doesn't deter him. He sidles toward me, eliminating the space I had put between us, and picks up a videotape from the edge of Geraldine's orderly desk. He holds it in front of my face for a moment, as if I might not otherwise notice, before he moves toward the VCR. Perhaps it's, gee, I didn't mean to gun him down in front of so many people. That's a good defense. Stanley pops the tape into the slot and watches intently, a savage glee in his eyes as the television screen lights up. He's seen this tape before, of course. We all have. Or maybe it's, oops, I just meant to stand there holding the weapon. That might work. Stanley sports a vicious smile as an olive-green military chopper appears on the small screen, descending to the only runway at Chatham Municipal Airport. When it lands, Stanley turns away from the TV and watches me instead. A half-dozen squad cars and at least as many press vans greet the chopper. Its door opens and Hector Monteros emerges, hands cuffed behind his back. He begins his descent to the floodlit runway, an armed guard on the steps ahead of him, another right behind. All three men lean forward, into the wind. The first hint of dawn is on the horizon. In the lower right corner of the screen, behind the wall of police cruisers and press vans, Buck Hammond steps from the hangar's shadow. He's my client. He stands perfectly still until Monteros and his escorts reach the runway. Then he raises a hunting rifle and fires. Monteros drops like a felled tree. Stanley's still smiling. Or maybe it's, darn, I didn't realize those TV cameras were rolling. Now there's a defense. One of my favorites. Stanley is shorter than I am. He's shorter than most people, for that matter, and I examine the top of his bulbous head before I respond. Sparse, almost colorless hair parts just above his right ear, long strands of it combed over his pink scalp, the wispy ends just touching the top of his left ear. Beneath his vast forehead sit muddy brown eyes, too small for the head that holds them, too dark for the pasty skin that surrounds them. He smiles up at me, apparently delighted by his own humor, revealing tiny, discolored teeth. You people, he says, shaking his head, a thick vein pulsing across his forehead. I've noticed that vein before. It turns blue when he's mad, and J. Stanley Edgerton III seems to get mad a lot. Stanley has been calling us, you people, since he got here. New Bedford is only about 30 miles away, just on the other side of the bridge, but Stanley seems to regard Cape Codders, some of us anyway, as an alien species. He turns his back to me, flicks off the TV, and wipes his hands together. I'm dismissed. Members of the New Bedford Defense Bar warned us about Stanley. He's an odd one, to put it mildly. He takes pride in being the first person in the courtroom each day, they report. He greets all trial participants upon their arrival. thereby establishing himself as the man in charge. For lay witnesses, people unfamiliar with courtroom procedure, Stanley even assigns seats. He is, in his own mind, one powerful fellow. It's going to be a long week. See you tomorrow, I tell him. Stanley faces me again, still shaking his large skull, his expression suggesting he pities my inability to see the light. Looking forward to it. His forehead vein throbs steadily. I head for the office door, hoping I've dropped no hint of how worried I am. Buck Hammond had his reasons, and Monteros got precisely what he deserved. But that videotape is damning. Geraldine leans across her desk towards Stanley as I head for the office door. I catch her words just before the heavy wooden door slams shut behind me. "Don't underestimate her," she says. I can't help but smile. Coming from Geraldine Schilling, that's high praise indeed. Chapter 2. Harry Madigan's last day with the Barnstable County Public Defender's Office was November 1st. He planned to take a month off before opening his private practice. After 20 years, he said, it was time for a real vacation. Real or not, it lasted all of 4 days. And he never got off Cape. Barnstable County's troubled residents, those who live on the edge when they're not confined to county facilities, know Harry well. Some have been with him his entire career. They trust him. They filled his office and his filing cabinets before he hung out his shingle. Joining him was like throwing a life ring to a drowning man, no thought required. I wasn't eager to return to practice after my years with the DA's office, and Harry knew that, but when he approached me about Buck Hammond's case, I had no choice. Harry knew that too. Sometimes I think Harry knows me better than I do. He knew I'd fight Buck's battle, knew I'd view Buck's act as justifiable homicide. We have a problem, though. Our criminal justice system doesn't view it that way. The system hasn't yet acknowledged certain basic human truths. One of them explains the single shot Buck Hammond fired at the Chatham Municipal Airport. Our only hope is that a jury of Buck's peers will rise to the occasion, set the rules aside if necessary, to reach a just result. Juries do that sometimes. Hector Monteros raped and murdered Buck Hammond's 7-year-old son. Monteros was in police custody charged with the crimes when Buck fired the now infamous shot that took Monteros down. And he did it while 24 people looked on, half of them police officers. Evening news anchors and editorial columnists have been asking since, how could this have happened? My question is different. I wonder why it doesn't happen every day, every time a child is victimized. It shouldn't have happened, of course. Buck Hammond shouldn't have taken matters into his own hands. He should have let the system work, should have allowed Monteros to stand trial for his crimes. Monteros would have been convicted. The DNA evidence against him was conclusive. He'd have spent the rest of his miserable days in a cell at Walpole, the Commonwealth's maximum security penitentiary. And perhaps that would have been a more just result. Generally speaking, inmates don't take kindly to child murderers. That's what should have happened. That's the way our society should function. But I'm not prepared to condemn Buck Hammond for what he did. It wasn't my son in the morgue. Buck's defense is an uphill battle, of course, and it isn't made any easier by the fact that he shot Monteros while 3 television cameras were rolling. All cases have problems, but Buck's has more than its share. Harry was appointed to defend Buck Hammond on the day of the shooting. Buck was assigned a new lawyer when Harry announced his resignation from the public defender's office. But neither Buck nor his family was happy about it. They wanted Harry back. No one else would do. The relatives raised enough money to pay the initial retainer and asked Harry to meet with them. Harry said yes, of course. He's never been able to say no to an underdog. They met at his new, not-yet-opened law office on the Friday of his first week of vacation. By the end of the meeting, Harry's long-anticipated vacation was over. After more than an hour of discussion with the extended family,